Hello. Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Hello, 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 hi. I guess I'll open up the Superchats thing for later. Whoa. Hello, hi. Where's my thing? Bird up. All right. So we're doing a Quickie Catchup. I recorded the podcast today. Why isn't this on Twitch? Because this is Quickie review stuff for the main channel. So, as some of you may or may not know, I've been going through a lot of shit over the past several months. I don't want to dwell on anything, but I've been moving. I've just finished setting up my room in the past couple weeks. I'm dealing with health issues. I'm trying to diagnose/fix some stupid fucking issues I've been having with my health. My tendinitis is back. I'm in the middle of restructuring things in the way that I said I would in my last update video. But that also is not something that I can do in immediately. It requires a lot of communication, and so I'm trying to scale certain aspects back of the channel while making room to focus on other aspects. Right now, the remaining videos with Scott in them are the priority, and that's what other editors are working on. It's almost Christmas. I'm trying to not overdo things and hurt myself any further. So for right now, even though typically, what people may be used to might be I see something like Smile 2 and immediately race to try and get in the algorithm and, write and record, like a edited review type thing. That doesn't make sense to do right now because of the aforementioned reasons. And I could go on forever about this, but that's basically the situation we're in right now. And we're going to come 2025, so a month from now, is when I feel like I'm going to be able to be in a proper routine again, focusing on actual passion project stuff. So right now I'm trying to not hurt myself. How should I do this? Okay, I have my left-handed mouse over here. Yeah, Smile 2. Okay, so I just saw Smile 2, and it was fucking terrible. It was genuinely fucking terrible. For those of you who may not have seen my first Smile video, that is a film that, a good amount of people liked, but I just found to be so fucking incredibly uninspired. And there was, some talent here and there when it came to the presentation, the directing. I'm going to be drinking a little. Aperol Spritz. There was some talent in terms of certain aspects about the film, but overall, every single scene just reminded me of another movie, and not in a good way. In ways where I wish I was watching another movie. So, conceptually, you have a mix of The Ring and Blumhouse's Truth or Dare and It Follows and all of these other things where I'm just oh, you're doing that. Oh, you're doing that. Oh, you're doing that. Every single fucking choice in the movie is just, oh, you're doing a thing that I've already seen before, but worse, with the exception of Blumhouse's Truth or Dare, which is you made a better movie than Truth or Dare, which is a really low bar. Smile 2, apparently everybody was saying, they fixed it. They finally made Smile good. No, did not happen. The presentation was better. There was more production value. It was like a $28 million movie, which comes from the fact that it was a Paramount production and not Blumhouse production. Not saying the first one was Blumhouse, but it seems like the type of concept that may as well be a Blumhouse movie, but it just happened not to be funded by Blumhouse. So there was obviously a budget. The performances were better in Smile 2. There were some interesting concepts for scenes in terms of like execution and camera work. There was an attempt at a oneer near the beginning of the movie. It was like kind of cheated to make it look like a oneer. But even in that scene, there's like terrible CG. Like a character's like on fire and he like sees it. He's like, I'm going crazy. I can see a character on fire. As a reference back to what happened at the end of the first movie. And I find it very difficult, incredibly difficult to get into a movie where you already know, just from the concept alone, that it's a paranormal entity and they're not going to do anything to the main character except troll them until maybe the end of the movie where maybe they die. That's the concept. That's the concept, and then the scares are supposed to be, because that's scary to people. I find it funny. So as someone that doesn't find it scary to go, I was just, every single attempt at a scare was just unintentionally hilarious for me. I stand by my statement with the first film that don't do that. I stand by my statement with the first film that it would have been fantastic if it were a horror comedy parody film. And this is because already it's so derivative of other horror movies, many of them being recent. It's so derivative of them. It might as well be doing something like Scary Movie. It might as well be like poking fun at those movies. It might as well be doing something kind of shitposty, maybe not as far as like Airplane in terms of, satire gags or whatever. But there's like at least one scene in the first Smile movie where you can literally pluck it out from the film, not change anything, and you have a perfect scene that would fit in something like Scary Movie. I'm going to spoil one of the scenes from Smile 1. It's on YouTube. It's hilarious. She goes to her nephew's birthday party, the main character, who's like, I'm so crazy. I can see all these things that nobody else sees. I'm crazy. She goes to her nephew's birthday party. She gives him a present. He opens it up, and it's a dead cat. She's like, I don't remember doing that. Everybody's like, how could you? And then she screams and then falls into a table, and the table breaks, and it's like a fucking slapstick scene. It was fucking hilarious. And I just wish that was in a movie that otherwise didn't take itself so seriously. I mean, even in that scene, it took itself seriously. It just unintentionally made a really funny scene. Smile 2, I guess we're going to go into spoiler territories to get with a bit more of my gripes here. Actually, before spoilers, yeah, I guess I got to spoil it. Here we go. All right, we're on to spoilers now for Smile 2. There's a terrible... First of all, jump scares galore. Shitty, manipulative jump scares galore, obviously. There's like a terrible jump scare where a woman who she's friends with is like in bed, like chilling with her, and she starts going like, it's like, oh no, the smile. And then it cuts back to the main character, and then it cuts back to her friend. And her friend turns into a car? Well, like, that's one way of putting it, and that's literally what happened. But her eyes turn into, like, headlights, and instead of a scream, and it's a dumb CG face, instead of a scream, it's like a car horn noise, and it's like, Burr! So she, like, TF'd into a car. which was fucking hilarious. That was hilarious, but that was only a moment rather than there being entire hilarious scenes like the first movie. There was one pretend scare or attempt at a scare where somebody's face turned into like this like terrible looking CG face, and its eyes turned like huge, like Tim Burton's Big Eyes style. That was kind of funny. And then one of my biggest fucking problems about this movie is that the twist at the end is that nothing actually happened the entire time. That was the twist at the end. The twist at the end was that the entire movie didn't actually happen, or at least the last like 90 minutes. Most of the movie didn't happen. That was the twist. What the fuck? People like that? People are okay with that? From the beginning of the film, as soon as they introduced her as like a pop star character, I was like, oh, okay, well, obviously at the end of the film, she's going to be on stage and then infect the whole crowd. Because she's going to be on stage and go, and that's going to be the end of the movie, because there's this very annoying trope in Hollywood where creatively bankrupt people think that by implying a greater sense of scale is a substitute for properly communicating emotions like fear. So a great example of this is just like literally any sequel you see where it's like, oh, instead of one bad guy, there's two bad guys. So like Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi's like, there's 3 bad guys now. It's like that. It's more effective if you want people afraid of a villain. It's more effective to properly develop and flesh out and characterize one villain. Or you could even do more than one, but you can't substitute that level of care and characterization for just increasing a number and saying, oh, there's more of them. Yeah, like this time there's 2 sharks or whatever. That's exactly what they do with these fucking horror movies. Is they pretend at the end, especially, and it's such a familiar trope, especially within this genre of like, oh, there's a paranormal curse horror movies, for them to end it on, but oh no, it went on the internet. That's what happened at the end of Blumhouse's Truth or Dare. I think there was 1 or 2 of those movies, and it happened at the end of one of them where it was like, but they're putting it on the internet now. They said this. I'm putting it on the internet. And that's what they did here, except instead of the internet, it was like, oh, we're at a concert and I have a bunch of fans. All of the extras in that scene were fucking terrible, and they thought they were doing something like genuinely artistic. Yeah, same thing in Rings. Exactly. Like, it's been done a billion times. So that final shot in Smile 2, all of the extras pretending to be fans at this concert either had terrible direction in terms of like acting, or none of them wanted to be brave enough to have a realistic reaction and sacrifice being visible on camera, which is often, a problem with extras, is everybody wants to be seen on camera. Everybody's like, no, I want to be the one person with my face on the camera. So like every single person is facing the camera going, oh, wah, oh, like not one person in this crowd of like hundreds of people is going to try and turn away. Not a single person. That's statistically like not fucking possible. But of course, every extra wanted to be seen on camera and just had terrible direction. And it looked fake. It was phony. It was cringe. It was cringe. It was terrible. And at least in the first movie, I could laugh at like a scene and just like imagine if it were like a comedy that didn't take itself seriously. This movie felt worse. And I think the nail in the coffin was the fact that at the end of the film, they said, actually, nothing happened. There's no rules to the fucking monster, right? We don't even know. We don't even have any rules. It's like ripping off The Ring, but unlike The Ring, where there's like a natural building of stress, of tension, of fear. Every single time you see the title card of the new day, you know that there's only 1 week, and you know it's counting down to exactly 1 week from when she got that phone call. And everything happening within the film gets more intense as it goes along, as she discovers more, as she gets closer to the truth, as the events, the scary things that happen get scarier in the ring. In Smile 2, the scenes are basically interchangeable. There's no rules as to when it's going to kill her. There's like, correct me if I'm wrong, they don't have any rules. There's one scene where some guy is like, I think this is how it works. But then at the end of the movie, they say that scene didn't happen. They say that didn't even happen. That character didn't even exist as part of the twist at the end of the movie. So there are no rules. So it was fucking awful. 2 out of 10. Hated it. Now we're going to talk about Memoir of an Escargot. Snail. This is the latest feature from director Adam Elliott, the director of Mary and Max, from my 2009 list, which is, I think, the 3rd video I ever made on my channel in 2010. Mary and Max was not a super popular film when it came out, but thanks to word of mouth and just it being a great film that everybody, like nobody who watches Mary and Max hates it. Like maybe like statistically a couple people, I guess. But it would be difficult to find someone who doesn't really enjoy that movie. And so now Mary and Max is sitting on the top 250 on IMDb with almost 200,000 ratings. So I was hoping that from that alone, with that being Adam Elliott's only other feature, that him releasing something 15 years later, and it having a lot of similarities with Mary and Max, it being like the same style, it also being like very adult. I was hoping that would give enough faith to distributors to like market the shit out of it and like get a bunch of screenings. It was not screening in Canada. It was not screening in the UK as far as I'm aware. I had to go to Seattle to see it. And I'm glad I saw it in a theater, even though it was coming out on digital shortly after. I did want to see it in a theater. I wanted to support the film because there are very few films in a year that I'm actually excited for, in ways that I feel like, yeah, this is going to be good, sort of thing. Memoir of a Snail is one of them. And I'm happy to say that it was dank. It was fantastic. It was very... it's one of the best examples that you could give of adult animation. If you were to search adult animation right now, you'd see a lot of things coming up like Family Guy. You'd see like Sausage Party. Those are not adult animations. Those are literally for children. Like Sausage Party is pornography for children. I'm sorry. It literally is. It's just because you write the word fuck and just because characters have sex in it doesn't mean it's not for children. It's aiming at a teenage audience because that's the type of humor that they have. It's like, haha, it's funny that they said fuck. Haha, it's funny that they're having sex. That's literally like a 13-year-old's perfect movie, right? So this is an actual mature story. And I love that Adam Elliott in both of his feature films was able to really effectively marry these styles of having this kind of like kids movie-esque cute character design and also like endearing, sentimental, emotional kind of like tugging at your heartstrings tones while still having mature subject matter and actual consequence. Like there's actual things that happen in this movie. So, there's tons of animated films that come out in a year, but especially in North America, we have this stupid pervasive idea that if you make an animated movie, you must make it for children because otherwise it's not going to make any money. And unfortunately, like it didn't seem like this had a great theatrical run. So I'm hoping it makes money on digital. But there's this stupid idea that animation is just for children. And so even though there's a lot of people working in animation that want to be able to tell effective stories to some degree, unfortunately, a lot of these films just wind up having zero weight and consequence. So if there's something that happens in one of those films where it's like they pretend like a character dies, I'm just going to be like, no, the character did not die. You're obviously doing something fake, and you're gonna, you're gonna pull some bullshit, right? That's the experience I have with most animated movies, because they're just not, they're not, they don't take risks, right? They don't. Many of them don't really respect their audience, with some exceptions, obviously. Fantastic Mr. Fox is a incredible animated movie that still manages to be child friendly in some way, but it's not really for kids. It's something that a kid could watch, but I think adults are more likely to enjoy something like Fantastic Mr. Fox. And then, I Love Dogs was, I think, PG-13 even. Memoir of a Snail is rated R. It is very sad. It is very emotional, but at the same time, it doesn't resort to feeling like any kind of like torture porn or misery porn, I guess. It's not, what's the name of that stupid movie? The Painted Bird. It's not that terrible black and white festival movie that came out 5 years ago called The Painted Bird, where it was like 2 hours and 40 minutes long, and the entire time was just like, aren't you sad that this boy is going through all these bad things? It's not that. There's definitely a lot of like really dark ideas and concepts expressed in this film, and it is effectively super fucking sad, but it's not bleak and hopeless throughout. No matter what any character loses in the film, there's always something to keep you going. There's always something to keep the character going and feel like maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe things can be okay. And that's kind of like, I guess, part of, the overall idea that the film is trying to communicate is, just to keep moving forward, in a sense. There's plenty of characters in this film that, even if they don't have a lot of screen time, they're very well fleshed out. And Adam Elliott has a very distinct writing style. There's things like this in Mary and Max as well, where through a voiceover narration, because a lot of the, both of the films feature characters that are sort of like telling a story, he'll include tiny details that are just like really, really sensory details. Or even like quirky ones of like, oh, this character likes to do this, and this is kind of, what they're about, or here's a fun little fact about them. But in both films, there's characters that kind of mention how things smell. Like they'll mention how a person smells, or how like their home smells. And it's, in some ways it's like a neat little quirky detail that gives the film a bit more playful character. But in other ways, it is something that just adds a bit more texture and life to the universe. And I really enjoy that. So let's see. I got my notes here. Yeah, a bunch of visual gags that I loved. Even during like really sad, like weighty, consequential scenes, there's like, whether or not there's like a visual gag within those scenes, which sometimes there are. Even the even the things like the character design, just
Hey
help.
Fucko, what's your favorite John Cassavetes film?
I'll have to answer that later. I might have to mute those notifications while I do this. I would say keep it to the super chats, which are not attached to that. Otherwise, I'll have to mute it. I'll read the super chats at the end. The character design in the film is, again, very like cute, but it's also like kind of imperfect. It has a great style to it. I like that it's not trying to be realistic per se. And it's definitely not trying to be this perfectionist style of stop motion, like, Kubo and the Two Strings, or anything like that. Because it doesn't need to be. It has enough character on its own. The emotions are communicated very expertly in the film and through the animation. I love the variety of, shots and angles and perspectives and how they show things, these like cutaway gags and Yeah, it's a very meaningful film and meaningfully told story, and yeah, very very perceptive, very deep, philosophical, and yeah, even I love that within the stop motion universe in terms of character design. Sometimes there'll be like packaging of like a cereal or something, just like a prop in one of the sets, and there'll be like a 2D drawn figure, and even those are just like, I love the kind of goofy, dopey expression on the characters' faces in those 2D drawings. And I'm not going to talk about spoilers for this film, because I think everybody should see it. It's on digital now, so please check this film out. It's one of the best movies of the year for sure. But I talked about this on Sardonicast today, my podcast, and we do a full discussion of it there with spoilers, and that should be out in like a week or so. We recorded early because I'm busy going to a wedding this weekend. So, yeah, damn. Adam Elliott, definitely a director to look out for. Love him. Hope he wasn't traumatized too bad as a child, because that's kind of the impression I get from his work. The way I would describe his films is traumatic comfort movies for autistic people. And they're really good. So everybody check out Memoir of a Snail. Absolutely fucking loved it. Fuck it. Why don't we do a little bit of this? Because I know some people were wanting to hear me talk about this, and not everybody listens to the podcast. So even though we already talked about this on the podcast, I'll give a little blurb of how I felt about this. I'm gonna have to open up my notes here. Okay, so Joker, Folie, Deux, Folie, Deux. Terrible, awful movie. What the fuck was Todd Phillips thinking? I think it's absolutely hilarious that the director of The Hangover is now pretending like he's like some deep artist that, you know, is given carte blanche, or as they would say in The Idol, carte blanche, to do whatever he wants with this budget, and allegedly with no studio notes, and like didn't even consider trying to work this in to the rest of the DC universe, which is fine because the first Joker film was kind of like experimental in that sense. But I would say anybody who's seen the first Joker, please watch The King of Comedy by Martin Scorsese, and also Taxi Driver. Because if you've seen those two films, the first Joker, it's pretty apparent that like, oh, this is not even similar to those. It's literally just, oh, we did the same thing but with Joker. And it seemed to be aware of that. It seemed to be very much like not even trying to hide it, like, because if they did, that would be silly, because it's just so fucking obvious. For some reason, people were telling me to see Taxi Driver before I saw Joker, so I did. King of Comedy was way more like the first Joker than Taxi Driver, though, even though it has things from both of those films within it. So upon having watched King of Comedy, I did lower my rating for Joker from a 7 to a 6. Like, it's a fine movie. The original Joker, it's not, incredible, but like there's good ideas in it, great execution. It's mostly carried by Joaquin Phoenix's performance. Really didn't like the fucking flashback for babies in a rated R movie. Like, that was silly. Like, okay, it's a rated R movie. Like, theoretically, there are adults watching it, right? Like, it was pretty obvious, the reveal of like the friend character. It's like, yeah, you could really easily infer that from this whole. You didn't need to show it explicitly. Like, it was already obvious. Anyway, Joker Folie was maybe one of the strangest films I've seen in terms of like, why would you make this? Because it seemed to be for nobody. Like, I don't know if the like stagey musical element was just, I don't know, Todd Phillips has a fetish for it, kind of like how Seth MacFarlane has a fetish for like Showtime musicals and just puts them in every single fucking Family Guy episode. I don't know if he just likes it or if it's an intentional like, I'm making something that no superhero fan would ever like. Okay, buddy. Neither did non-superhero fans. Like, nobody liked the movie. Did you like the movie? Did Todd Phillips like the movie? It was kind of cringe. It went on forever. The musical scenes didn't add anything to the film other than just saying, "Hey, we're doing a musical also." It was a long courtroom drama where not much happened. It's over 2 hours long, 2 hours 20 minutes. Joaquin Phoenix singing. There's a clip of this on the YMS Clips channel, by the way. If you just search up auto-tune YMS Clips Joker, you'll find it. And I'm reacting to this in real time. When Joaquin Phoenix started singing in the film, it was just horrendously painful. The obvious, like, pitch shifting and pitch correction auto-tune they were using. Like, we have the technology to not make it sound that bad. So either Joaquin Phoenix was fucking tone deaf or like didn't try. Like, I don't understand what the hell went wrong there. Every song was boring. So it didn't even work well as a musical. And it's like a jukebox musical. So these songs already exist. Like, it didn't really have a great selection. There wasn't like great range or anything. Steve Coogan was in the movie. A very British man who looks very British. And who every movie I've seen him in, he's been very British. But he was trying to do like a American accent, like a New York accent. I don't know what he was doing, but it sounded so fucking weird, especially just like seeing him do it. That was distracting. Yeah, I don't. This almost might have worked if this were like an HBO Max spinoff. If this were a Max spinoff and there weren't any expectations of this being a sequel to the movie that people liked, then maybe this could have worked. But why the hell? Why in the ever-loving fuck would you like even imply in the slightest that this is a continuation of the movie that people liked and then not deliver in any fucking way whatsoever? And some people might say, oh, that's part of the point. It's avant-garde. It's actually a statement on how people who liked the first movie took away the wrong message from it. Okay, well, there were some people like me that didn't take away the wrong message from it and thought it was fine and enjoyed it. And, you know, if you get like $200 million or whatever to do whatever you want with a sequel, like really your plan is to just fart on everyone? Like, that's it? You're like, hat. Okay. All right. Guess there's not going to be a Joker 3. They easily could have just done the same first movie again. They could have just been like, hey, we're doing Joker again. But this time, it has a number 2 in the title. And that would have been fine, and people would have liked it. They could have done the exact same fucking movie again. People would have liked it. Harvey Dent. That was weird. Joker got graped. That was weird. They didn't even show it. The way people were talking about it, I thought they were going to show it. Fucking cowards. It's rated R. Show it. And then, yeah, like how are people supposed to care about the outcome of a trial where it's set in a comic book universe and this is the Joker, right? Like allegedly it's the Joker. It's set in a fucking comic book universe, even if the first movie was like more grounded than like other comic book movies or whatever. It's still set in that universe. So no matter what the outcome of the trial is, they could be like, you're going to jail for 1,000 years. It wouldn't fucking matter because in this fucking universe, there's always room for him to break out of jail. So this entire, like, there's an implied sense of interest or consequence on the outcome of this trial, because that's what takes up the whole movie. So you have to assume like somebody might be looking at the trial and thinking that there's consequence to it. Like, I'm sorry, this isn't fucking Anatomy of a Fall. You didn't create like a compelling drama within a courtroom system. It's just like, will the Joker have to be found guilty? Does it matter? It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter at all. It means nothing. And then at the end of the movie, spoilers, it literally means nothing. Because he just gets stabbed. He gets shanked in prison. Which is just, it was kind of funny. So, yeah, in short, very cringe. It was, like, well shot. Like, the lighting was good. But, like, absolutely fucking pointless movie. Who's it for? Apparently nobody. Apparently that's reflected in the box office numbers. And, you know, even though people are, you know, some people liked it. Quentin Tarantino liked it, I guess. The explanations that people have for what this movie was trying to go for, no matter what anyone says, I'm going to take a wild guess here. I'm going to bet, not bet anything real, but figuratively. I'm going to bet that no matter what someone says to justify this, or no matter what theories people have about like, oh, this is what it was actually trying to do, I'm willing to bet that Todd Phillips did not intend that. I'm willing to bet that Todd Phillips didn't even have any fucking idea what he was doing. Like, whatever he was doing was not clear. Whatever he was doing, maybe he knew what he was doing. And then I don't think anybody connected with it. He made something absolutely incomprehensible. I can't wait to see what his next film is and what he's going to do, because now he's just a funny director to me. Now just the idea of him making movies is hilarious. So, bye-bye, Folie. Duh. All right. I saw Strange Darling. This was an interesting movie. It's kind of a horror movie. It's got Kyle Gallner in it, who everybody seems to love, and I think he's fine. If he really needs the right role and the right director, he's not director-proof like, you know, Jake Gyllenhaal. There's a lot of movies where he's like not great. But he's getting more roles, and I'm excited to see him grow. I'm excited to see what he does. This is a feature film debut from director J.T. Malner. I got that correct. It is his feature film. Yeah. Nope, it's not. He directed some other stuff. That was, what is this? Outlaws and Angels? Okay, that came out first. So it's not a feature film debut. But it's kind of like a breakout hit. Relatively small budget film. It's very stylized. I think it was shot on 35 millimeter. I think I have my notes. So I saw this in theaters. Everybody was kind of raving about, well, by everybody, I mean like film people. And it's, I like the concept of what it's going for in terms of like how it presents itself. I like what it's doing stylistically. But at the same time, there's enough about this film that kind of like strikes me as a little rough around the edges, and I feel like its ambitions were a bit larger than what it ultimately pulled off, in my opinion. I enjoyed watching it in the sense that I'm glad I saw it, and I'm glad I saw it in a theater, and I wasn't really bored. But it just, in terms of, there's like just a couple presentation executions that I feel if they were perfected, or especially, I don't know, like writing and, oh boy, let's see in my notes. I remember there was something really fucking annoying that happened at the end of the movie. I like the chapter titles. I like that they were told out of order. I like the reveals in the story. I like that it was a story with like interesting twists. Yeah. Oh my god, I wrote a bunch of notes for this. Excuse me. All right, yeah. So near the end, there were some things that were happening that were not only like convenient, but like absolutely fucking bullshitty. in terms of like, oh wow, that only happened because you're an idiot, in ways that like don't seem realistic at all. They don't seem like, oh yeah, someone would do that in real life, like entirely unreasonable. There are characters that show up with the worst fucking dialogue ever, and the like terrible delivery too. Like if you just removed the scene, or like even ended the movie earlier, or ended the movie differently, like it would have been so much better. I think I knocked off an entire point for, I'm not going to spoil it because I still think people should see this movie, but there are characters that show up and they have a conversation about protocol. And I was just cringing the whole fucking time that I was like, holy crap. The movie had such momentum, and then it fumbled the ending so hard. It was very frustrating. Because otherwise, like it's really solid. Like I still don't regret watching the movie. I'm just near the end of it. It was kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, just about things that seemed easy to fix in terms of like how it was approached. But yeah, that one scene, very frustratingly written, terribly delivered, terribly presented, very relentlessly unsatisfying. Rest of the movie, really interesting, and I would recommend it. It's kind of edgy, it's kind of bizarre, it's kind of funny, it's got some good sense of humor. So check out Strange Darling, and I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10. Did I say what I gave Joker? I gave Joker a 3, but Strange Darling, I'm giving it a 6. Yeah, apparently I also wrote in my notes for Strange Darling that if it was more of a comedy and the same thing happened, then it probably would have worked out fine. Even though it did have a sense of humor, there's just like suspension of disbelief, I guess, and just like ultimately what it was doing there was just frustrating. All right, let's see. We got Mars Express, which I think I watched before the last Quickie Catchup. But I didn't talk about it because I was like, oh, I'm going to talk about it on my podcast anyway. And then I record my podcast. And unfortunately, because the two movies we talk about in that episode were Mars Express, a movie that people haven't seen, and then Waking Life, a movie that most people haven't seen, nobody clicked on the video. But this is this movie is like legitimately fantastic. And I'm pissed because when I talk about, films that I think are great that more people need to see, I feel like part of my job, or like the part of my job that matters, that I actually feel I get like any kind of like purpose out of, like, value, is being able to help people discover these smaller films that are not even inaccessible. I'm not asking people, like, some of my favorite movies are like ridiculously inaccessible. I don't expect everybody to love Synecdoche, New York, or The Holy Mountain, like I'm not expecting that. I don't tell everyone to go see those movies. But there are movies that come out every single fucking year that nobody sees because nobody else is talking about them. But they would love them if they saw them. And just people need to understand how to find these movies, or access better tools to find these movies. One of those tools is like, I don't know, a movie reviewer you like on YouTube talks about it. So disappointed in the Sardonicast audience, I guess, or maybe the core audience. They all watched it, and then maybe just those extra views that go to fucking Borderlands, or we should have put Deadpool in the title. Then people would have clicked on that one. Maybe those aren't a part of the core audience. I don't fucking know. You got to watch Mars Express. It is a French animated film. It is sci-fi. A lot of it feels very inspired in the sense that it wears its inspirations on its sleeve. Sometimes it feels a little bit like Ghost in the Shell. It's from Jeremy Perrin, the director of DYE Fantasy, which got removed from YouTube because it was too cool, like too spicy, which is bullshit, by the way, because if you're allowed WAP on YouTube, then DYE Fantasy belongs on YouTube. They make an exception They make an exception for music videos even. So even acknowledging that dumbass exception that they make, which I don't even think they should. I think everybody should be able to post things that are like, oh, a little spicy. It's not porn, right? It's also a music video. Anyway, DYE Fantasy, if you search it on Google, search it on Vimeo, you'll find it. You'll find an official upload of that music video. One of the best music videos ever made. Great song. Fantastic animation. Finally, this guy makes a feature. And it came out 2023 officially, although I think the wide release might have been for this year. It might be considered for this year's Oscars, I guess, in terms of like Oscars 2025. It might be considered a 2024 film for the Oscars. It has fantastic music. It has fantastic characters. I love the animation in the sense that like there's a simplicity to it, but it's still managing to do a lot of like really complex things and a lot of subtleties within the animation as well. There are like looks that characters give. The main character, she has this like kind of like silly little smirk that she'll give like as a reaction or a gesture at points in the film. But what I really took away from it in terms of like an experience is just that this director really knows how to communicate like emotional weight. And when I say emotional weight, I don't mean like, oh, so sad. I mean like of like a punch, you know, when it shows something like a concept for animation, like an action concept. So there's like a part where, you know, a character is like jumping across a building. They've already cut their hand open. They land on like on a balcony, and you can see in the animation like where their hand is on the balcony. There's like kind of like this blood spatter to remind you that their hand is still bleeding. But just seeing that visual is like, oh wow, like it's elevating an already intense scene and concept, but showing it just right. Whereas, you know, even if you wrote that and had a different director approaching how to show that, many other films, most other directors, would probably have like a close-up of the hand and the blood spatter and like really shove it in your face. Just be like, look, this is happening. This is a thing we wrote into the script and we're going to show you really obviously. But the fact that this director chooses to have it completely visible in the frame, but not explicitly shoved in your face, allowing you as the viewer to notice that. Not saying it's difficult to notice, it's impossible not to notice, but not feeling as if the camera or the film is going like, hey, don't you see this? But instead allowing it to be something within the scene, right? It just existing in the frame. I feel like that is just so much more effective in terms of getting, you know, like a visceral reaction out of me and going like, holy shit, this is awesome. The music had a great sense of energy to it. I loved the sci-fi concepts. It's very, again, you know, inspired, but also feels fresh in its own way. There's a character in the film that his real self died, and then they uploaded his consciousness into like a robot body, I guess like an AI robot body. And then the rest of the film, like his head is basically a hologram, a floating head hologram on a robot body. And he's one of the like more interesting characters in the movie. And he continues, despite, you know, his physical organic self being dead, he still continues living his life, and he has part of the struggle is like with like previously established relationships from when he was technically alive, and like trying to revisit or re-explore or like maintain those relationships. And I love the visual storytelling in this film. There's like some really incredible, really smart, clever shots where they can take something like, oh, what if this, you know, this character that's dealing with these emotional predicaments, what if this particular character and them with a hologram head, what if we showcased it in a way visually where we could add like a layer or a deeper meaning to it? So in some shots of the film, you'll see like literally, he's in the frame, but because his head is translucent, you can see things through his head. And then you think, well, I mean, if you try to analyze movies in any way, you can think, oh, what is that trying to communicate? What is that trying to say? Like the things showing up from this angle are literally in his head. It's like, it's meaningful. And there's other shots like that I don't really want to spoil. There's a lot of like really terrifying concepts in ways. It has a great sense of humor. It's under 90 minutes, and somehow it explores so thoroughly so many different concepts and ideas and showcases them super well visually and just with such creativity and clear storyboarding. It communicates all these ideas within less than 90 minutes, and it feels like we get so much more out of this film in terms of like volume of ideas and how thoroughly these ideas are properly explored than most 2-hour plus films. Like there's plenty of 2.5 hour long films that don't even begin to feel like as fully explored as this film and its universe. I really like what they expressed. I love what they created. Awesome fucking movie. Again, there's great animation this year. And because the Oscars definitely are giving a nomination to Inside Out 2 and also The Wild Robert, something's getting snubbed because there's too many other good animations, so that something has to get snubbed. So hoping Mars Express gets a nom, hoping Memoir of a Snail gets a nom. None of these things are guaranteed. They'll probably nominate some fucking bullshit Netflix animated movie like for China or something. Seems about right. Let's see. How's the Sardonicast merch idea? Well, okay, I shouldn't respond to super chats yet. I gotta keep going on this. Sorry. I'll just continue doing my Quickie catch-up stuff and then we'll do super chats. I can't get distracted. I shouldn't even have chat open. Okay? All right, so for October, on the Patreon, we do something called a monthly watch-along. I mean, I do watch-alongs already where people can watch movies with me on stream. But on Patreon, you get to vote for a movie every month. And last month, people voted for Revenge, which is the directorial debut of Coralie Farge, the director of The Substance, which a lot of people are talking about this year, and I loved. Revenge was really weird. Let's see if I can pull up my notes. Revenge is one of those movies, like, I kind of wish I saw it when it was still new. But at the same time, I feel like after having seen The Substance and knowing what she's capable of and having a better idea of like what she's going for, I feel like I probably got Revenge a bit better from having seen The Substance. I feel like having seen The Substance first made me enjoy Revenge more, and just like kind of knowing what she's going for or what she values and is like trying to express, and especially with this being like a first feature. It's really visually interesting. The color grading is very vibrant. It's very like saturated. Everything looks really nice. It's got great sets while still being at the same, even though there are sets. I guess that maybe they filmed in a real house. I don't know, but a lot of it takes place in the desert, so it is kind of like small scale in terms of environment, but that's what a lot of horror movies are anyway, and that's what a lot of especially directorial debut horror movies are, first feature horror movies, because that's just how you make something practically. The trope of like cabin in the woods. It's like, yeah, that's a practical justification. It was very fun and visceral. it is not, if you find yourself getting overwhelmed with like, you know, some logical like that wouldn't happen or that doesn't make sense. Those exist in the movie, and it's not a perfect movie. Those things can bother me too. When I have the choice between something that makes a degree of sense and then something that seems to only not make sense because they needed to do a thing for the plot, I'd rather have something that makes sense. This movie is not free of those things. But what it showed me in terms of, action, filmmaking, gore especially, there was a lot of blood in this movie and a lot of the gore effects were like super well done. Conceptually also, there's some injuries that I'm like, ooh, I was like kind of cringing at in a good way, what it showed me outweighed those flaws that I had. And I really liked the energy to it, and it was a lot of fun. And I don't have a lot to say about it, but I figured I'd recommend that as well. So 6 out of 10 for Revenge, directed by Coralie Farge. I would probably watch it a second time, honestly. I got the Blu-ray, so yeah. Here's a fucking weird one. Uzumaki, which is what happened? Was it Cartoon Network that was responsible for this shit? There's a manga artist named Junji Ito, and his work is very distinct. You could probably tell when something's his work just by kind of like looking at a frame. He's got a very distinct style. He makes very creepy concepts, very kind of like inventive concepts even for manga. Very disturbing, very kind of like nightmare fuel-y stuff. I don't know what the word is for it, like fantasy horror even. Yeah, very, very interesting guy. People were excited for this because this is based off of one of his mangas. And it's 4 episodes. I think it was Cartoon Network. And the first episode was solid. And apparently they had issues. Apparently they had issues with the network, and the animation turned into like meme-worthy, terrible, like garbage. For some reason, like the visual animation, it just looked a billion times cheaper, and it was like a hard change from episode 1 to episode 2, which was very unfortunate. And everybody seems to agree on this. And perhaps it wouldn't stand out as much if the first episode didn't exist, but even still, imagining if that were the case, there's still so much about it where, I wrote down in my notes, like, okay, the punch, there was like a punching animation that just like, it was just so poorly timed and cheated, and like the amount of frames that it used was just so off. Like, there's just things that it was doing so terribly. There's like characters running on a beach, and it's almost like South Park animation, but not like funny or trying to be. It was so weird. And not only did it drop off in quality, but it was also like inconsistent in style. And also, what was weird about this is like there was some awesome music in episode 1 too. And then the music didn't appear for much in the rest of the series. And so what I wound up doing is, I just kind of like casually watched it, not paying complete attention to it because I just like, I wasn't invested in it. I would have been paying more attention to it if it didn't start to like fall off, but I was loosely enough interested in it that I was like, okay, I'll just kind of like passively see where this is going. And parts of it were fun. But damn, like it's crazy that such a prolific and influential artist has not yet had any kind of like animation of one of his works turn out well. Like, or apparently there was like a live action Uzumaki that also sucked. So it really sucks that like such a great artist is can't make a movie, can't make a show. Just other people wind up fucking it up, or money winds up fucking it up. So yeah, a lot of things about this really felt rushed. And I'm looking at my notes here. Yeah, what I was wondering why it was episodic and not a feature if it was only going to be 2 hours total anyway. Couldn't imagine having watched Uzumaki waiting every week for it to come out. Because just imagine, I'm sure some of you, this was the experience. Just imagine watching episode 1 and being like, oh, we finally got a good Junji Ito. And then next week, what the fuck? And then the week after, what? Like that would just I'm so glad that like I don't really get hyped for things much often. I get like interested in things like, you know, even the movies I'm most excited to see in a year. I don't get like so emotionally invested in the outcome of whether or not it's good. So I don't really wind up getting that upset if something's like bad that I was looking forward to. Most things I'm not looking forward to. I have reasonable expectations, I guess. But damn, it's good not to be upset about this. Just so there's some things I'm glad I wasn't a super fan. I watched VHS Beyond. I don't have anything to say about it. I'm not even gonna write that on the title. 4 out of 10. It was kind of disappointing, very forgettable. Nothing really stood out. Kind of stinky. I guess we'll finish off with one more anime. I watched Rukku Baku, which is the real title. It's called Look Back. And it's a under an hour Japanese anime film. I want to see more movies that don't feel obligated to stretch themselves out to 90 plus minutes. Right now, it feels like a lot of things feel obligated to stretch themselves out to like 3 hours. I applaud the bravery of releasing a feature that's under an hour long because it was perfect for what it needed to be. It told its story. I'm going to try hard not to spoil this. Let's see. I got some notes here. Really good music. A lot of like really expressive animation. Very purposeful animation in terms of like how the backgrounds and characters are drawn. There's like, you know, there's some elements of it where you can tell that there's like a bit more detail focused on certain parts of the animation process versus others, but it also plays into like an actual purposeful thematic purpose for the film. It's really stylized. I love like a lot of like really interesting perspective shots and like almost what look like drone shots that kind of like, you know, start at the sky and then follow a character like running in a field. There's like perspective shots of like people running through hallways. And I just love like how short and tight it is. And I'm just so glad that it didn't wind up devolving into something where, you know, they felt it necessary to add just a bunch of like random conflicts or dialogues or characters to stretch out the runtime. I'm glad it was exactly what it needed to be. And it was also sad as fuck, but in a good way. It was like meaningfully sad. It was emotional and like, damn, you're actually trying to communicate something and you're actually doing storytelling kind of sad. It was surprising. I didn't really predict anything. I was just kind of along for the ride, which was nice. You know, just there's such a variety of choices in terms of like how to shoot or showcase each scene. There's like entirely different animation styles within this film, but not like, ooh, it's so quirky and random. It's like, oh wow, there's like actually a point to this. Yeah, it's some great montages, some great characters. I'm just looking at my notes here. Yeah, it's a damn, I don't even want to say like what it's exploring thematically because I don't want to spoil it. This was great. Should be on Amazon Prime, I think. But yeah, really loved this movie. Another great animated movie this year. It'd be nice for it to get a nom. There's only so many noms because the Oscars apparently decides there has to be only 5. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about animated movies anyway. So, that's my Quickie Catchup. Heads up, somebody let me know when Lumina is getting a digital release date. Because I want to watch that a second time and I want to like do a little bit of a dive into things about that film. All right, so somebody asked me a question over the other donation thing, and so I'm just going to find that first, and then we're going to respond to some super chats. I should be using my left hand. All right. Hey, Fucko, what's your favorite John Cassavetes film? I only watched one, so it's the one I watched. What was it? Unless we're talking about things he might have acted in, because in that case, I guess Rosemary's Baby. But directing Faces. I think I'll probably enjoy A Woman Under the Influence whenever I wind up watching that. I don't know why, but I feel like I will. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to go through some super chats here. If anybody wants me to answer their questions, now's the time to get your super chats in, and then I will start going through these. Here we go. Captain Schmapton, thank you so much, says, honestly, that's why I didn't like it as much as most people, and this is when I was talking about Smile, I guess. Most of the movie, the clown's just trolling these kids I know are going to live to adulthood. Yeah. Wait, what movie were we even talking about? The clown's just trolling these kids? We could have been talking about, I guess we're talking about Smile too. Was it a clown? I don't think it was a clown. I wouldn't call them kids. Were we talking about something else? I don't know. I don't know. Wisda Vision Productions. Terrifier? I didn't even talk about Terrifier today. Why does it... Today's the... whatever. Wasting the audience's time by making 90% of the film a fake out. Automatic 0 out of 10 for me. On top of that, they copied most of the jump scares from Smile 1. Yeah, it was dumb. Benjawin, thank you so much for the super chat. $2. John Hoffland with the $9.99. Couldn't have made it 10. Have you considered giving the show Kidding a shot at some point? It stars Jim Carrey. Has numerous episodes directed by Michelle Gondry. A very unique premise, unlike many other TV dramedies. I think it's on my watch list, and correct me if I'm wrong. I guess I'm just responding, but I think that Michelle Gondry wound up directing an episode where they had like a really interesting like oneer, like doing a like fixed pivot pan. I get, is that a pan? Yeah, that's a pan, right? There's a lot of terminology. Yeah, where they were changing around the set or whatever. I think it's on my watch list, so I'm just gonna look it up right now. Is that still going or is that done? It is on my watch list. I would like to see it. I love Michelle Gondry in terms of like creative directing. Talcono with the $5. Hi, Adam. Went to a screening of Heretic in Salt Lake City with the writer-director duo in front of a Mormon audience, and curious if you've seen it. Was that at Sundance? I haven't seen it. I think people People on the A24 subreddit seem to enjoy it. 7.2 out of 10, 71 Metascore. The trailer looked kind of shit. Oh my god, Scott Beck. The directors are so bad. The directors are so bad. Scott Beck and Brian Woods, they directed 65. That was barely a movie. So let me know when it's on digital. I might do a watch along. Yeah, of course I didn't see that in theaters. Jesus, because I didn't even like the trailer anyway, and so I wasn't convinced by people being like, it's actually really good. Yeah, I think it's going to be something that I find a lot of issues with. Especially if they're let me just double check this. Especially if they wrote any of it, because those are the most bullshitty writers in the world. They're writing. Oh yeah, they wrote it too. Oh my god, from the writers of A Quiet Place. So like, yeah, guaranteed, like A Quiet Place, like 65. They're just gonna throw in some dumb bullshit where they don't even care why something happens. It's just like, oh, this needs to happen just so we can get to the next thing on the checklist. It doesn't matter. We don't have to construct a story in any way. All right. Colombian Thunder, $5. Memoir of a Snail themes. Recently found myself in a large slump. Things to do in a short time with no motivation to even start. Any advice? Happy Thanksgiving. Well, Thanksgiving was last month because I'm Canadian. So we're not even doing Thanksgiving right now. Y'all in America just do it too late. Doesn't make any sense. I do get the same Black Friday deals, though, which is funny. Things to do in a short time with no motivation to even start. I wish I had more details, because it's difficult to give advice when I don't even know what the things are. If the things are like clean your room, you could break things down into smaller things so that you don't feel overwhelmed. So if, let's say, cleaning your room is an example, like, you don't have to clean your entire room in one day. Just like, focus on the closet first, or like the desk first or something. Be like, okay, that's what I'm going to do in a day. Start to break down, like, okay, if you have all these things to do in a short amount of time, you should figure out which ones are the most important or the most time sensitive. Can some of these wait? Are some of these necessary? Which ones do you need to do first? Listening to music or like podcasts while doing something that you need to do is a good motivator, I feel. You can kind of just like tune out and listen to something. So hopefully that helps. Michael with the $4.99. If you got cursed by the smile demon, who would grin at you, and who would grin back? Who would you grin back? Also, any 2025 movies you're excited to see? Mine is Zoo Guys 2. I mean, the thing with the smile is, like, it doesn't seem like you have much of a choice over who grins at you and who grins back. Am I allowed to just say Scar from The Lion King for both? And then also, we don't die, but we're just smiling because we like smiling. I should shut up. All right. Super chat from Jackomania. A/S Super Drive something. There's a channel named The Cornelius explaining how animation isn't a kid's genre and analyzes Memoirs of a Snail with many similar points you said. Oh, they probably ripped me off. They probably built a time machine. Fernando Villaseñor with the 50 pesos. Oops. I clicked on something. All right. Just saw Memoir of a Snail. Amazing. Any other underrated mature animated films you recommend? Film of the year, subbed since 2013. Love you, man. Yeah, Mars Express is an incredible adult animation from this year. Look Back is an anime that I really loved from this year. Let's see. What's logged for 2024? I mean, Oh shit, there's a lot of stuff. This whole year's been fucking weird. I mean, The Substance might be my favorite of the year. Like, I just have so much fun with that. I rewatched it. I could watch that again anytime. It's just like a really, I love the energy to that movie. So right now I would have to say that's my favorite of the year. Substance is a lot of fun. What the fuck? How did this get on my... Okay, I accidentally put something on my 2024 shortlist that I haven't even seen. How do I remove that? Get me out of here. Get me out of here. Okay, let's see. There we go. Foe the Win. That makes more sense. $5. Hi, Adam. What did you think of Look Back? I really enjoyed it. Any plans for a review? When did you write that? Because I did talk about it in this video. Also, if you want to hear me go in depth with even some spoiler discussion, I talk about it in more detail on my podcast Sardonicast, which you can find on YouTube. I talk about it with Alex from I Hate Everything. We talk about it for a good amount of time. So I liked it a lot. Loved what it was doing stylistically and thematically, and just yeah, great choices. Loved the runtime too. Thanks. Mountain Mechanic with the 5 Dolans. Happy Thanksgiving, Adam. Thank you for entertaining me for years and years. I'm grateful. DYE is awesome. Well, thank you, and happy Thanksgiving to ya. I appreciate it very much. All right, what else we got here? Hey, Adam, what would be your top 5 favorite Guillermo del Toro films? Let's find out. Ballistic Gel Torso. That's a fun meme. Okay, Pan's Labyrinth, #1, undeniably, undebatably, right? Like, that's... how could it not be? And then... what's next here? I guess... why is he credited as directing PT? On IMDb? What the fuck? Okay. I mean, my IMDb ratings, I gave Shape of Water an 8, probably because a woman fucked a fish. So I guess that's my second one. Nightmare Alley would be after that. And then, damn, like, Pinocchio? But there's so much about Pinocchio. Pinocchio is so great for half of the movie, and then every single song sucks. It's crazy to have a film that's like rated a 7 out of 10 on my IMDb that I just like I don't want to watch again and left a bad taste in my mouth, you know? So maybe I'll reconsider that rating or something, I don't know. And then yeah, maybe Hellboy 2 or Pacific Rim, I don't know. Hellboy 2 would be my number 5, I think. Yeah, let's do that. That's good. Did I write that in my soundboard ideas? Let's see. Because I'm trying to make a soundboard at some point. Let's see. I'm gonna write that down. And when I say write that down, it's something that happened in my head that I didn't say out loud, I mean. There we go. Substitute Metalhead. How would you rate a concept album instead of movies? What concept album would you do for reviews for Sardonicast? Which concept albums have I even listened to? I just never think of things in that terminology. I guess The Wall is already a movie, right? The Black Parade. Okay, that's a pretty... Yeah, that makes sense as a concept album. Illinois. Okay. Illinois. Yeah, I'm like looking at... I just never think of... I don't think of things in that terminology. Like, is not every album a concept album if you really think about it? Was my album a concept album? Because, like... I don't know. There was a concept and an album was made. It's a concept. I don't know. So I don't... Okay, what's the question? How would you rate a concept album instead of movies? Are you asking me if I would do that? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I'm not sure what the question's asking. How would I rate a concept album instead of movies? Depends on the album, depends on the movie, I guess. And I wouldn't do one for Sardonicast. I can't think of one that I would do for Sardonicast except The Wall, which we did. All right. The Scarsdale Vibe. Have I seen Mad S? Let's see what that is. Oh, 2024 film. No, but I'll watch list it now because the other film you asked me about, When Evil Lurks, I loved. Loved that movie. Thought it was super fucking cool. Actually scary. And actually real consequence in a horror movie and, things happening. Like, damn, you actually showed me something. It was really cool. Shout out to When Evil Lurks. We talked about it on Sardonicast if you want to hear an in-depth discussion. Earth Boy, what is the saddest film you've ever watched? Dear Zachary. Capri Snyder. What films are you looking forward to the most this year? I'm very excited for Queer, Baby Girl, Maria, and especially Nosferatu. What is Maria? 2024, Angelina Jolie. I am not excited for Maria. No. Oh, wait, Pablo Larraín? Okay, I am. It's on my watch list. For some reason, I confused this with something that Angelina Jolie directed. I was like, no, I chose not to see that at TIFF. But no, that was something else. I like Pablo Larraín. I wouldn't say I'm most excited for that this year. Let me just quickly check my watch list. I think Nosferatu would be my number one. I'll be catching Flow in like a week or two. I'm looking forward to that. That's like an animated French movie with like no dialogue, I think. Let's see. Release date. And then, come on, IMDb, sort my watch list. What's on my watch list in 2024? Scrolling. Here we go. Yeah, Nosferatu. And I guess nothing else. Literally, the Nosferatu is the only thing I'm excited for the rest of the year, I think. Unless somebody can give me another example. I think I've seen most of the things I want to see like this year, so. Oh, fuck! The Brutalist, obviously. The Brutalist. What am I talking about? I think I'm more excited for The Brutalist than Nosferatu. Actually. Yeah. I'm hoping I get to see that soon. But it releases January 2025. So I think what its strat is to get Oscar noms and then release itself. Because it might get a Best Picture nom. I wish I could have seen it at TIFF, but I got sick, and also it was 3.5 hours long. So I didn't even have it on my list of things to prioritize, because I already saw a fucking 7-hour-long screening that year, and that would have been pushing it. Mac and Josh with £5. Do you keep all your review notes in a Google Doc? Do you have like hundreds in there? Do you keep it open on a second monitor during watches? I have a laptop. I have a note application. I have physical notes. I got notebooks. I bought this book thinking it would be something about Scar, but turns out it's just a dumb notebook. But I use it, so. You know, sometimes I just search words on Amazon and something shows up. Yeah, so for watch-alongs, I write notes on my laptop or any like film I'm watching at home mostly, and then films in a theater, I write it on notebooks. I upload occasionally my notes to Patreon. So if you're interested in seeing any of those, I've got them for like everything I've ever taken notes for, like spanning back fucking a decade, basically. Like all the way since like Megan is Missing, I think. Just been throwing notes on my Patreon. I haven't done that in a while because my tendonitis symptoms are back, and it's a lot of like, ooh, screenshot, click, name. And so it's like, I'm doing. So I'll make sure that everything that I've been taking notes for will be uploaded, but I think I'm going to wait until January to do that. Apparently, some of the links are broken too. If somebody could help me out with either like a subreddit post or something, like telling me which of those links are broken so I don't have to like literally click every single one of them while my tendonitis is like back in not quite full force, but like pretty close. That'd be great, because I think I'm going to have to start uploading them directly on Patreon instead of using like third-party image hosting websites. Yeah, I should use my other hand. Sad Boy Zigzag, $2. Will you speed rank every Bright Eyes album? Do we have a list? I don't know how to do this. Hold on. I don't know if I could rank them. Maybe I could put them in. I could do a tier list someday. So, like, let's say S tier is like Wide Awake It's Morning, Lifted, Casadega, Fevers and Mirrors. And then A tier is like Jug of Wine, Two Vessels, Digital Ash, Digital Urn. B tier is like Letting Off the Happiness, People's Key. C tier is like Five Dice All Threes and Down in the Weeds. And Christmas album, I guess. I don't think I wouldn't consider anything to be like an F tier, I guess. Tyler the Veganator. Adam, are you excited for Doom the Dark Ages? I don't even know what that is. Is that a third Doom game? Or a third new Doom game? Because did I play the second one? I don't remember. I didn't beat the second one if I did play it. I think I beat the first one, as in the first remake. That's pretty good. All right, let's refresh, get some more of these super chats in here. Silhouetted Animator, ever thought of collaborating with Brad Jones? I gotta remember who that is. A soccer player. No, there's like a YouTuber, right? Who's Brad Jones? What the fuck? How come Google's not telling me? Can somebody help out in chat? Is it like a Cinema Snob or something? Channel Awesome Wiki Fandom. There we are. Yeah, Cinema Snob. I don't know enough about them to consider collaborating with them. I didn't really watch a lot of Channel Awesome stuff ever. So, Dave Johnson. Random, but what was your favorite film of 2016? I would probably say The Handmaiden. Thank you so much for the $5. Colombian Thunder, $5. Hi, Adam. I had the slump question. Context is a bunch of writing deadlines. Oh, shit. Appreciate the advice. Thank you so much. You know, it's one of those things sometimes, like, creatively. I know that to do things creatively, writing, you have to, like, get in the right headspace to do it. You can't, like, necessarily force it. But oftentimes you just kind of need to get, like, a little bit of momentum going, and then the rest becomes easy. Sometimes, like, so I would say with so much creative work, sometimes the hardest part is just getting past that initial hurdle and actually, like, starting something and finding your footing. And then once what you're doing becomes clear, it's just it's easier from that point on. So I would say, even though, you can't necessarily force the whole process, I would say try your best to, like, force something out of, like, the beginning of something. And then you might find that, like, the momentum after that point, that was the hardest part, and then the rest of it becomes easy. Green Entertainment. So you didn't see Am I Racist? No, not yet. I also didn't see fucking the new Deadpool. I'm also, there's plenty of things I don't see. But it is kind of a funny meme that people are getting mad if somebody didn't review the new Map Walsh film. All right, Earth Boy. Not saying that you necessarily got mad over it. It could just be an innocent question, and it's just a coincidence. But Earth Boy, did you ever do any more work with Rooster Teeth after that Funhouse video you were featured in? I was featured in more than one video. So if you're talking about the very first one I was in, then yes. I was, like, on, like, a couple of the podcast Funhouse things. But yeah, nothing outside of Funhouse, I don't think. Shiro Inoue. Have you seen the original Austrian version of Funny Games? I think you could like it. I personally really enjoyed the acting. I have seen it. Thanks for the €5. I prefer the US version, and so does the fucking director, like, otherwise he wouldn't have made it. It was original, like, Funny Games US is, like, one of very few remakes where I feel like there's actual improvements and, like, benefits from it being remade in that way. Like, Michelle Haneke, it was originally, like, the story was originally intended for an American audience. Like, it's very much a critique of, like, American films and audiences, right? So it made sense that he would want to do, like, a US release, an English version set in the US. Yeah, and I find that the two characters played by Michael Pitt and Brady Corbett are much more fleshed out and better characterized, and just, like, have so much more personality. They make it a lot more entertaining. So, I mean, I have seen it. I've seen it once. But every time I think about seeing it a second time, I remember that I also have the US version, which I like more. So I'll watch it a second time eventually. I don't think I'm ever going to change my mind about that, though. I love the US version. Very, very rare, better American remake, but it's from the same Austrian director. That guy with 10 Australian dollars. Hi, Adam. Just a random shout out. Nothing to do with the movies. But how much do you, Scoot and Gael, sorry, don't know how to spell, lost my dad recently, and the Adam and Pals makes it better. What? How much? Oh, what? But how much you, Scoot, and Gael... Oh, okay. I think you're missing part of your comment. I think you meant... let me just guess, and meant to say that... we help your day get better, and we entertain you. Sorry to hear about your dad. I also lost a friend recently. And I'm not going to go into further detail about that. Because I don't want to talk about it. Jack David, $5. Hey, Adam, what do you think about Tetsuo the Iron Man? I loved it. I thought it was great. Over the course of the film, it was very short runtime. It was like over an hour, like an hour and 7 minutes long, I think. Black and white. For budgetary reasons, it was like $100,000 budget in Japan. And yeah, it was, sorry, someone's playing piano in the other room. I kind of got distracted. I might go down there and kill them. It's Gael in Minecraft. Yeah, it was something that I was initially enjoying, kind of like as like a fun shitpost, as like, oh wow, this movie is just kind of doing whatever it wants. It was very horny, very explicit, and very like wacky body horror. The practical effects really well done, really well cheated, like gore and action moments, and just like creative concepts. And over the course of its runtime, even though it's a film that like doesn't really have any kind of like solid narrative going on, it's very experimental in that sense. Over the course of its runtime, it started shifting from something that I was enjoying like in a shitposty nature to something that I was like, you know what, this is actually art. And, you know, like super visceral imagery, some disturbing concepts and imagery. Like the horror elements are actually really well done. And it showed me some like really cool and kind of frightening looking things. You know, very industrial soundtrack, very... It's interesting. The movie is both like inspired by so many things and also is so inspirational, and a lot of things wound up, you know, taking inspiration from Tetsuo the Iron Man, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's so wacky. I love the stop motion. The dialogue is very infrequent, but like very funny. I think it is self-aware when it comes to like its humorous qualities. Yeah, loved it. 8 out of 10. I really liked Tetsuo the Iron Man. YMS highlights with the $5. YMS is so gay. You take that back. Jake Dyer. I forgot to rate Curb Your Enthusiasm on IMDb. Here's your money, Adam. And I said I, referring to me. So $10. What do I rate Curb Your Enthusiasm at? I thought I rated that. No, I didn't forget to. I have it at a 9. What are you smoking? Thanks for the $10 though. Thank you. Yeah, it's a 9 on my IMDb. I enjoyed it. Sorry. That guy. Don't mention the Uzumaki anime. It breaks my heart. Well, don't rewind the video and you'll be fine. Thank you. Shiro Inoue with the 10 pounds or something. I don't know. It hasn't updated here, so I'm looking at the live thing. Oh, here we go. Euros. Thanks for the recommendation for the US version of Funny Games. I will check it out. Otherwise, I would like to ask if you have seen Ichi the Killer, and if you have, what is your opinion on it? I love Ichi the Killer. I also love, like, Takashi Miike directs, like, more than a movie every year. He's literally directed over 100 movies. Isn't that insane? And he passed that threshold, like, 5 years ago. He's probably at, like, 110, 120 movies right now. And he's a really interesting director. And, you know, most of his movies are not great because he's making so many of them and they can't possibly be that great. But I remember, I think it was at TIFF, he was doing a Q&A, and one of the things he said was like, hey, if you don't like one of my movies, it's because it's not my fault because I made it exactly how the script asked me to, which is like a really funny, but like, it makes sense, like kind of perspective for him to have. You know, whenever he does something, like, how many of his films did he write? Has he ever written any one of his films? So like Ichi the Killer is based off of a manga. And so it makes sense. Like, yeah, he didn't write that. Audition, is that based off of manga? Yeah, has he ever written any one of his films? Yeah, what an interesting director. Yeah, Audition is incredible. I love that movie. Fuck. Damn. Yeah, what an awesome movie. Itchy the Killer, very fun, very wacky, lots of great reveals, lots of great gore. Lots of character, very explicit. It's really out there. The imagery is just insane. Very fun film. I would recommend Itchy the Killer for sure. Very well realized. Thank you. Thoughts on Jaredy Greeps, The New Sound. That sounds like a fake name in a Tim and Eric universe. The New Sound. Is that 2016? No. What is The New Sound? Should I look up is that part of the title, Jaredy Greeps? I'm going to have to copy and paste this. Hold on. What the hell? I can't even find what you're asking about. Oh, it's an album. I shouldn't be searching on IMDb. I've seen this album cover before. So I know I've seen people talk about this. I haven't heard it. Should I listen to it? It's apparently from this year. I like the album cover a lot. It's really cool. Yeah, you know what? I'll add this to my Spotify now. Let's do it. Downloading. All right. And refreshing the super chats. Hope everybody's doing well. Happy American Thanksgiving. That guy says, Moose is in the house. That feels like a quote from something, and I feel like I've seen it, and I don't remember what it's from right now. J4M. $2. Do you like Greg Araki movie? Watch Nowhere, please. I don't think I've seen Nowhere yet, but Smiley Face is like one of my favorite comedies. Smiley Face is so funny. Let's see, Greg. And Mysterious Skin, I remember being good, but I haven't seen since I was like 18 or something. So I would definitely have to give that one another watch. Kaboom was weird. Not super strong. Oh, that was there was a character named Moose in Kaboom, wasn't there? Oh. Yeah, what is... Okay, I haven't seen Nowhere yet. It's on my watch list. Is that like one of the ones that's on the Criterion box set? Thank you so much. All right. Beep, beep, beep. K, $5. Random series recommendation, Midnight Mass, late to the party, and I know you're not a Mike Flanagan guy, neither am I, but I quite enjoyed it myself. I think I tried watching the first episode and just got bored. I am very enthusiastically not a Mike Flanagan guy. I think it would be a waste of fucking time for me to watch this movie. I genuinely feel like it would be a huge waste of time. Sorry, show. I just can't. I'm sorry. It doesn't connect with me at all. Pam G with the $5. Yorgos Lanthimos or Gaspar Noé? Fuck. That's tough. I mean, Lanthimos consistently makes great movies. Gaspar Noé makes movies unlike anyone else, like to an extreme degree, that I feel like is the question, like if one had to disappear or just like one better. Because if one had to disappear, I would say Lanthimos, but Lanthimos is better. I just feel like I feel like we would lose something greater with Gaspar Noé not being like in the cinematic culture. Like we would lose like a very unique voice. Not to say Lanthimos isn't, but like Gaspar is particularly unique. Lanthimos makes better films though, consistently. I mean, yeah. Shiro Inoue with the €5. Thank you so much. Since I know that you have seen most Lars von Trier films, could I rank them, or at least say what my favorite is? Might be Dancer in the Dark, but let's find out. I mean, Antichrist is awesome, but I think if I got to pick one of the two, like it has to be Dancer in the Dark. There's a lot of his older stuff that I want to check out, and I bought on DVD, but haven't seen yet. So yeah, top 3: Dancer in the Dark, Antichrist, Breaking the Waves, and then The Kingdom. Then like maybe The Idiots. I'm willing to revisit House That Jack Built. I feel like I would like it more on my second watch. And then Nymphomaniac, like maybe I'll watch again. I don't know. And then Dogville. I forgot Dogville. Yeah, Dogville would be before actually, I don't know. Is the Kingdom and Dogville are pretty close. I don't know which one of those is better. And then I haven't seen Europa yet. I haven't seen Medea yet. I haven't seen Epidemic. I haven't seen. Yeah, I guess those are like the main ones I'm missing. Those are like
Have
really,
you ever
really
considered
early ones.
formal music education? You're self-taught, right? Do you think it's valuable for a mature musician?
Thank you, Michael K. I would only pursue it in terms of like audio engineering, because I don't believe that I could be taught anything in terms of composition, because I compose things for myself, right? Like it doesn't, whether or not I'm doing something like correct in like any kind of like mathematical way is irrelevant to the type of music that I make. I'm making things for myself. But I would like to have a better understanding of like the mixing and mastering process. But then that's like expensive and time consuming schooling that I just currently could not fit into my life right now. And then B, for the ultimate purpose of what? Me editing, like already adding more to my wrist issues that I like. I'm trying to detach myself from that process, right? I'm trying to lessen that type of load. Like that's one of the things that I'm trying to work on, is just have less of like literal editing happening for me, because I'm like physically like injured, like I'm disabled basically. I've got like a chronic condition where like I literally can't. So it seems like kind of dumb. I don't know. Maybe having just a better understanding of it, even if I was like telling an audio engineer what to do, like that could help. But like, it's not something I could feasibly like fit into my life right now. Wow. Okay. Refreshing the super chats. Jack David, $5. Super glad you liked Tetsuo. I would also rec Kotoko and Tokyo Fist by Shinya Tsukamoto. Also, fun fact, he actually starred in Ichi the Killer. What? Oh. Which one is he? He was Gigi. Oh, cool. I had no idea. That's actually fucking... That is a fun fact. Damn. I'm going to rewatch that knowing that he directed that. Yeah, I noticed the... There's a Blu-ray collection of a lot of his films. And I'm like kind of tempted to get it at some point, but right now I'm just like I'm trying not to make like purchases. I'm trying to cut back on like things I'm not going to like immediately need or use sort of thing, because the move was really expensive and I am in the middle of reorganizing my workload, which also means reorganizing my finances and just like so many things that I just like I couldn't justify it right now. So Madhouse Studios. Adam, do you have a PO box? I'd love to send you some films. Memoir. You'd probably love Opal 2020. Please see Azarel 2024 film I'm Still Here and The Penguin. When you throw in something like The Penguin, it makes me believe you less about the other ones. Not saying I've seen The Penguin and I think it's bad, but like I'm just so sick of superhero shit right now. Like I don't even care. I don't want to watch The Penguin. I'm gonna look up Opal. Oh, Jack Stauber. I think I've seen this. Or have I? No, I haven't. But I've seen other Jack Stauber stuff. Okay. Yeah, I would. You're right. I would like that. And then what's the other one? Azarel. (2024). 52 Metascore. 5.4 IMDb user rating. Who's this writer again? Simon Barrett. His name's so familiar. The guy that's written all those shitty fucking Adam Wingard movies. Sorry, not doing it. Not adding Azrael. Sorry, not doing it. That is a request denied on that one. Sorry. I'm Still Here. I feel like I've seen that. Unless, oh, that's just a very similar title. Oh, there's a new I'm Still Here. Not the Joaquin Phoenix one. Okay, I'll watch list that. I'm assuming that's the one we're talking about. And then I'm not watching The Penguin. So you got me to watch list 2 things, which is a lot. Do I have a P.O. box? I just moved and I just threw out like fucking 5 garbage bags worth of shit from my closet to make room for all this new stuff. We still haven't finished like moving around shit in the other rooms. I really don't want more things in my house, even if they're just movies right now. So you could ask me again in like maybe a year. But right now I don't want to accept things. I'm too overwhelmed with the things that I have right now, but I really appreciate it. Thank you though. Just ask me again at some point. Maybe I'll be in a situation where I can. So that guy recently lost my dad, and Adam and Pals makes me feel better. Miss Scoot, wish I could have met him IRL. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so that's probably the comment that was meant to be typed earlier. I appreciate it. Earthboy, $20 Canadian. Thank you for creating amazing content. When I discovered YMS, it helped me get out of dark place. When I discovered YMS, it helped me to get out of dark place. I appreciate it very much, Earthboy. Thank you. Glad to help. Substitute Metalhead, $5. There are a lot of reunion bands like Pantera, MCR, Acid Bath, etc. Are there any reunited bands that are alive you would like to see live? Not really. Generally, like, if it's been a while and a band like reunites like after so long, they're probably going to be like shit, you know? They're probably just like doing it for a paycheck. When I saw MCR when the newest album was The Black Parade, they weren't even that great live, honestly. Like they just kind of played through the songs and that's it. Like they didn't really have much stage presence. They didn't really do much with it. Like I love that, you know. I love 2 of their albums. But damn, like it wasn't even a great show live back then. Like so I definitely wouldn't do that now. I saw Billy Talent doing like a 10-year anniversary show or something. And they just like they weren't into it. It was like, wow, they really lost their energy. And then some woman in the crowd drank too much and threw up all over the dance floor, and then people were just like stepping in it. Like some guy fell in it. It smelled terrible. It was a bad show. Let's see. That guy, another 10 Australian. Also, I migrated from Chile, South America, to Australia when I was a kid. I'm a graphic designer now. Really want to do an Adam and Pals piece. I'll tag you when I'm done. Oh, that'd be dope. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, actually. Cypher's Basement. Can you review the movie Battle Royale sometime? Yes. Well, I can watch it at some point and then give my thoughts on it at some point, but I can't commit to like doing like a full edited review or anything. I have the 4K Blu-ray, and I thought that would motivate me to watch it sooner. And I still haven't seen it. So suggest it for the monthly watch-alongs on Patreon, on the Discord. Maybe I'll see it. You can vote on it. Shiro, anyway, as a musically gifted person yourself, could you tell us what your favorite musical movies are? Lion King #1. 1994, obviously. Sweeney Todd's good. La La Land's pretty good. Dancer in the Dark is like way up there. Like Dancer in the Dark has to be like probably my second favorite musical, unless I'm like not thinking of one. Yeah, there's a handful. Thank you. Mugen Inc. Andrea, why you no do dishes? Is that from The Walking Dead? I don't remember what that was. Thank you. Kareem, Adam, do you take any stimulants? I had some mild caffeine today. It was in an iced tea format, which is the same as sweet tea. We just call it iced tea in Canada. Well, it's not. I can't even say it's the same as sweet tea. It's like a sweet iced tea, but not going to give you diabetes in a sip, like in the fucking American South. Yeah. So I had some mild caffeine today, and I'm doing pretty good. I can't do a lot of caffeine. Yeah. Jack David, have I ever seen Ingmar Bergman's Persona? Yes, I saw it once. I was at my aunt's place, and I remember really enjoying it, but I was also very drunk, and I would have to see it again to have like a proper, real opinion on it. But I do remember enjoying it. So, Gabriel Fernandez, seen I'm Still Here. Love you, big fan from Brazil. I have not seen it yet. Thank you for recommending it. I'm assuming you're talking about the Brazilian film and not the 2011 I'm Still Here with Joaquin Phoenix, which was not very good. But I'm excited to see this I'm Still Here. It looks like it might be up my alley. I really want to watch... what's that movie called? God damn it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there's a Brazilian movie called The Invisible Life of Eurídice Gusmão. And I really liked that a lot. I would love to see that again. Is there a Blu-ray for that? That's something I could own. The Invisible Life of Eurídice Gusmão Blu-ray. Just so I remember to get it at some point. Region free, but does it have subtitles? Let's find out. Ooh, there's an English quote. Oh my god. Okay. All right. I'll get this at some point. Oh. So it's, yeah, English subtitles. Nice. I'm always so disappointed when a movie doesn't have English subtitles. Like a Blu-ray exists for the film Magical Girl 2014, a Spanish film that I really love. But there's no English subtitles on the Blu-ray. So it's like, okay, do I get the Blu-ray and then just like rip it to my computer and then fucking... annoying. So annoying. AJ Lawrence. Hey, Adam. Thank you for suffering through Life is Strange. How do you feel about The Last Unicorn? I don't even... I think I remember checking it out, but not as a kid. And like maybe not connecting with it much, but I don't think I watched the whole, like, why don't I watch list this and we'll see what I think about it for reals. I think if I watched it like as an adult, maybe I could get something out of it. I don't know. I could probably watch it, do a watch along for it or something. Yeah. Thank you. Tyler the Veganator. What's your favorite Jon Favreau film? Not including the Lion King remake, of course. Let's find out. I don't know if I have a favorite Jon Favreau film. He's never made anything like great. His best movies to me are like 6 out of 10s, right? What has he even made that I've liked? Like, I guess Chef and Iron Man are maybe tied at 6 out of 10. I guess that's it. John? Who cares? John? Shiro Inoue. What is your honest opinion on American Beauty? You know, I watched it recently in the past like couple months. I really loved it when I was younger. And even though I still, you know, I have some criticisms with it that are like maybe even a bit more apparent as an adult. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I still had those criticisms when I was younger too. I still really like it. I still think it's great. It hits the right beats. There's something like weirdly satisfying kind of watching a guy going like, fuck the system. And, you know, like just doing what it like, it's like an unfiltered version of someone's intrusive thoughts. And they just kind of get to live it out. There's something fun about that. It has kind of like a, you know, there's moments near the beginning that are like a little sloppy, but like very iconic filmmaking and concepts, and the score works really well. The performances are all fantastic except for one that, you know, is not even bad, but is just, you know, there's a lot of competition in that film. Yeah, I really like it a lot, actually. I'm glad to have rewatched it recently. Lawson Dawson with the $5 dues. Hey, Adam, would you say your film ratings are more reflective of your personal enjoyment or what you believe to be the film's quality? I would say, oops, damn it. I accidentally clicked on something. There we go. I would say they're a combination of both. There is no film that I would give a 10 out of 10 that is something that is flawless that I don't connect with on a personal level. Depending on what the film is, one could outweigh another, right? I have to have like a strong personal connection to it for it to get a 10. I have to like love the film. I wouldn't give something a 10 if I didn't love it. $5. Bella Roche. Have you seen Alfonso Cuarón's Disclaimer? Not yet. I know it came out, and I know that people didn't, that like people weren't wowed by it. I'll watch it at some point. I don't know when I'm going to see it. I've been overwhelmed with moving and all these fucking doctor's appointments trying to figure out what the hell's going wrong. A lot of shit going on. The second half of this year has just kind of been fucked for me. Just trying to restructure everything and trying to take some baby steps here, and eventually things will get back to some sense of normalcy, I guess. So just haven't had time for everything. I've had to be more selective about what I see and what I cover. So Buddha James, Shrek 2 Retold watch along when it's finally out. Yep, let's do it. I'm down. Henry Vaughn the $5. Which Michelle Haneke movie is your favorite, if you have a favorite? I think it's like, oh, excuse me. Yeah. I think it's changed over the years. At one point, I think it was The Piano Teacher. At one point, I think it was Cachet. Right now, I think it might be Funny Games US. Like, that's a movie that like, every time I watch it, I'm just like so excited and so appreciative of everything going into it, you know? Funny Games US might be my favorite. Like I have such a joy watching that film, a sense of joy. Shiro Inoue, what would be your favorite horror film? I think I've said, what's it called? I'm losing it. Losing my goddamn mind. The Thing. Go scrat, pop, pop, cack, cack, cack. Skibby keep, pop, pop, and the boop, boop, prr, boom. The Thing. John Carpenter, Kurt Russell. Great fucking movie. Love that movie. So that might be my favorite horror film. But there's a lot of better films that exist that like are kind of horror films and like not really. But that's like an actual horror film that I think is great. So Jack David. Also been in the trenches trying to get Blue Velvet over the hump in the watch along vote, but always comes in second. Well, maybe someday. Maybe someday. It'll happen. Thank you. Keep trying. This is a pretty good Radler. Lemon Mandarin Radler, 110 calories, 4%. Beach by Strathcona Brewing Company. Very enjoyable. Shiro Inoue, I don't know how much you read, but what is a book that you would consider your favorite? I don't read a lot at all. I mean, I read a lot, just not a lot of like literature. It is something that feels difficult to put into my schedule, and I prefer the medium of films. You know, some people might say like filmmaking is more passive, but I would say that's entirely just dependent on like how you choose to engage with things, or I guess not even as a choice, but like how you're able to engage with different mediums, right? Like the best movies I'm watching are ones where I'm like constantly like absorbing so many fucking like details about like what went into the filmmaking. And then obviously there's like most movies that are just not things that I get very engaged in, but the things that I do, you know, I get so much out of them. I read a book called Make Your Own Damn Movie by Lloyd Kaufman from Troma, and that was a very funny read. I like kind of like film diaries of especially like low budget, like indie guerrilla filmmaking stuff. There's always some like fun stories in there. So I'm excited to read through like the Pi diary that came with the A24 4K for Darren Aronofsky's Pi. I have Robert Rodriguez's book, but I haven't read it yet.
Album. Also, have you listened to much Modest Mouse?
Thank you, James Pog. My favorite Bright Eyes album, I don't know if it's like, I think right now my favorite Bright Eyes album is Wide Awake It's Morning. So now I'm a basic bitch because that's everybody's answer. So, but right now that's probably my favorite. Thank you. All right, is that the end of the super chats, or we got any more coming in here? I'll give it another minute. Hope everybody has a delicious Thanksgiving. Oh, you can see Michelle Haneke's face on the box set right there. Right there. Look at him. staring us down. And then there's a box set underneath it that's also a Michelle Haneke box set, but it doesn't have any English subtitles on any of them, but there's some like really obscure films of his that I figured like would be very difficult to find if I didn't get that box set that only exist on that box set. And so I figure like, okay, maybe I can find subtitles for that someday. So just for the sake of like being able to watch them eventually in like really good quality, like some of his made for TV movies and stuff. Let's see. Could I rank some Charlie Kaufman movies from Shiro Inoue? Who's that? Oh yeah, I guess I should sort it by writing credits on IMDb. Synecdoche. Eternal Sunshine. John Malkovich. And then I don't know between I'm thinking of ending things and Anomalisa right now. But I do find it kind of fun that there's a filmmaker out there where my top 5 are films that I have rated at all 10 out of 10. I don't know if are there any other filmmakers that I can say that about? Wow, Charlie. I connect with him a lot. I get what he's going for. Fuck, I can't use this. Yeah, my tendonitis shit's coming back. Just even like having my hand like in this same position that I normally hold my mouse, it starts to get irritated. I don't know. I gotta get that ice pack on it again. Use my left hand. Shit's annoying. Shit's fucked right now. So fucking annoying. Because I have... It sucks having more motivation than I am physically capable of fulfilling. It sucks being limited by like physical disabilities. It's very frustrating and sad, and I hope that it gets better at some point. If we were like 100 years in the future, I could just chop my arms off and do a bionic arm. I do have the A24 for Stop Making Sense. I'll watch it at some point. All right. I guess that's everything. So I guess I'm gonna call it a night. Have I thought about releasing another album? Yeah. I've been writing songs, which is very difficult with tendonitis right now. So I have to be like very delicate about it. It's so annoying because it's like the only like it's a form of expression that I like really need to like process a lot of shit that's been happening recently. So Suda 51 games ranking. I'll be really quick. Let's see. Let's see. What's my favorite Suda? I mean, Black Knight's Sword is just so fucking good. That might be my favorite. Shadows of the Damned is really fun. Killer is Dead was awesome. I haven't played Let It Die yet. I'm kind of like dreading doing that, even though I'm very excited to. Killer 7. Yeah, so those are like kind of my top 5, I guess. Lollipop Chainsaw might be my least favorite. I was kind of underwhelmed by it on a replay. No More Heroes is a fun trilogy, but I want to see more. I want to see more Goichi Suda. Goichi Suda. Goichi. Fat Tails. Will I ever watch Twin Peaks season 3? Was amazing. I will eventually. I'm just not gonna rush. Oh. I'll watch it when it beckons me. Maybe I need to see Blue Velvet first. And like Lost Highway. Colombian Thunder. Appreciate the advice from earlier. P.S. Hope you check out some Elliott Smith at some point. He's a big influence on Sufi and Bright Eyes and Boy Genius. Yeah, I've heard that. Maybe I should check it out at some point. I probably will, but I just don't know. I don't know when. There's a billion things I got to check out. My watch list, my listen list, like my playlist, like everything is just fucking too large. And I'm trying to find ways to have more like structure and stability in my life. You can't get to everything. If I could just slow down time and do things twice as fast and never sleep, it'd be fine. And then also not have fucking debilitating fucking physical issues. That would help. I'd be able to be a lot more productive if I didn't have... It's such a dumb thing to have. I fucking hate it. Like, what do you do to fix your fucking tendons? Like, I'm actually looking into, like, maybe trying to get, like, find, like, a massage therapy place that can, like, deal with it. I've been doing physical therapy. Like, my personal trainer is aware of it. We've been doing, like, a lot of exercises to try and address it. But, like, after overdoing it for so fucking long, and not really having any choice in the matter of overdoing it over the past 3 months, like with moving and everything, I didn't think it would come back this hard, and I'm pissed. Because literally 4 months ago, I was like, oh, I'm like almost good again. Like my symptoms were so minimal, and now they're just like, oh, wow, this is like almost as bad as 3 years ago. So I'm fucking pissed about that. And I don't really have much choice. Tendons are tough because they don't heal like most tissue. Yeah, fucking tell me about it. You just need to take a break, dog. Whenever it flares, you got to break. I know, but what do I do? So like, okay, let's imagine the hypothetical break scenario. I still have to wake up, shower, use my hands in my hair, shave, use my hands there, you know, flush a toilet, turn on the sink, I'm using my hands there, making food, even if I'm not making something like complicated, even if I'm not like cooking a meal, even if it's something like Uber Eats, I still got to like type up the order, still got to like open up the packaging. Maybe I'm using a utensil or chopsticks. Like I'm using my hands for it. It doesn't, sure, holding a mouse and typing on my phone are all things that aggravate my symptoms a lot worse because it's a repeated stress injury, and that's what I was doing the most. But there's no way to just completely stop using my hands, which sucks. Like, even if I'm watching a movie, it's like, okay, am I not going to do it for work? Should I not take notes? And then it's like, what, do I just do that all day, every day and not take notes? Like, how do I don't know what to do. It sucks. It sucks. And it's going to be a long, annoying, painful journey getting back to like a normal place again, which is really frustrating. I would love bionic arms. Use voice to speech. I would have to constantly pause the movie to do that so the movie wouldn't like pick up. And then if I'm watching a movie in theater, that would probably distract and disturb a lot of people around me if I was talking into my fucking phone, right? I'm actively trying not to like text as much. I'll send voice messages to people instead of texting them. Like that's something I do. But I'm just trying to imagine, like, yeah, I don't fucking. It sucks that even with it, like, feeling like it was basically healed, like 4 or 6 months ago or whatever. It sucks that it takes so little to get it back to like almost at its worst place again. So I don't know what to do. Everybody kind of tells me like surgery could make it worse. I don't know if like I'm kind of running out of options here. So I don't know if that's something I need to do or consider. And I also don't have the money for it right now anyway, so. I write up notes in the theater? Yeah, on a physical notepad, yeah. Not every hand movement irritates it. It's mostly typing and clicking. I had to stop playing. I was going to play through the Silent Hill 2 remake on Sunday and just do that the whole day. But I had to stop doing that because on the PS5 controller, which is what I have the game on, the right thumbstick, you actually have to like the amount of force required to move the right thumbstick. It's not a lot, but like I guess I'm just fucking so injured that it was fucking me up. So I switched to a different game and started playing on my Elite controller for the Xbox, like on PC. And this is just so much easier to move. And then I was fine the rest of the day. Like it wasn't flaring up my symptoms, which is crazy. Because you would think intuitively, like you would assume, like if you were gonna choose between Silent Hill 2 or Elden Ring, that Elden Ring would be the one to like be way worse for like tendonitis symptoms, but it turned out to be the opposite. Yeah, I'm considering surgery at this point. Maybe I need to look up prices and like testimonials or something. Because I don't know what the fuck. I don't even know what they do in the surgery. Like, how do they even just yank out all my fucking tendons and replace them with like steel? If they could do that, that would be so cool. I'd do it. It's so weird. Like, what the? It's a tendon. I'm controlling tendon from the muscle. The muscle isn't irritated. The tendon is. Isn't that fucking stupid? It's like the string that the muscle is pulling. That where the issue is happening. How did that get injured? How does that make any sense? My mom has fucking tendon and wrist issues too, so it might just be a genetic thing. I mean, I have to assume that it's in large part genetic, so because she's been struggling with it for a long time. So use $5. Hey Adam, greetings from Brisbane, Australia. Love your work, you rock. Thanks for making me laugh. From your buddy Liam. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. Your aunt had surgery for that. It fixed her. I think anti-inflammatory drugs. Is it inflammation? Because I feel like I've done some anti-inflammatory things with no real measurement of success, right? Maybe I'll leave a tab open. And just see if tendonitis treatment. Okay. Maybe we'll find out if that means surgery or not. Yeah, I really should go and look into this. It's scary. Like, it's terrifying. Because I don't want to, like, lose the ability to, like, play music. I mean, right now it's difficult anyway, but yeah, a lot of shit's been happening. All right, well, thanks for hanging out, everybody. I think I'm going to call it a night. Thanks, everybody, for the super chats. And, yeah, everybody be patient. There's a lot of fucking changes happening. a lot of physical annoying things and sicknesses and blah 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 blah, and just restructuring and every fucking thing that's happening at once in the past fucking 6 months. So, yeah. So I'm gonna try my best to take it relatively easy for the next month, but yes. Thank you, Iggy1. Thank you for everything, Mr. Horse. Tiger Horsey Ethnostate lives forever in my heart. Aw, that's sweet. All right, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Peace out.